You can start a business with $0. You've probably heard that before. It sounds great. There's just one problem. It's usually not true. Almost every real business will cost you something, but that doesn't mean you need thousands of dollars sitting in your bank account before you can start. In fact, how much money you have may matter much less than what you do with it, because beginners make some very expensive mistakes. And some of those mistakes can kill the business before it ever gets a real chance. After spending their limited budget, they often end up asking the question they should have asked much earlier: will anyone actually pay for this? That mistake can turn a small budget into no budget very quickly. But going to the opposite extreme doesn't work either. Trying to make absolutely everything free can leave you with the wrong tools, a weak product, and a business that can't actually deliver what customers expect. So, where should your money actually go? What can you skip? What should you delay? And how do you start when you genuinely don't have much money to work with? That's exactly what we're going to break down in this video. If you're new here, we're LifeWise. We create practical resources for people who want to start and grow a business, become more productive, build their careers, and make smarter decisions about their lives. Right now, we're especially focused on helping beginner entrepreneurs move from "I want to start a business" to actually building one. And stay with us until the end, because we have a bonus for you that will help you organize your business idea, understand your next steps, and start turning what you've learned in this video into action. But first, we need to deal with one of the biggest misconceptions about starting on a small budget. Because the business you eventually want to own may not be the business you should start with. Here's the first thing you need to understand. The business you dream of owning and the business you can afford to start today don't have to look the same. And that doesn't mean giving up on the bigger vision. It means finding a smarter way to get there. Let's say your dream is to open a restaurant. If you start by calculating the cost of rent, renovations, professional kitchen equipment, employees, inventory, licenses, insurance, and marketing, you might immediately conclude, "I can't afford this." And maybe you can't afford a restaurant right now, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can't start building a food business. Depending on the regulations where you live, you might start from your own kitchen. You could offer a small delivery menu, take pre-orders, provide catering, or sell at local events. You're still moving toward the same bigger goal. You're just starting with a version you can actually afford, and this applies to almost any industry. Want to launch a clothing brand? You probably don't need 20 products and hundreds of units sitting in your home. Start with a small collection. Test a few designs. Use pre-orders if they make sense for your model. See what people are actually willing to buy before you put a large amount of money into inventory. Want to build an agency? You don't need an office, a team, expensive software, and 10 different services. Start with one service that solves one valuable problem for one type of customer. Get clients first. Build the infrastructure as the business actually needs it. Even a business that eventually requires serious capital can often be tested on a much smaller scale first, and that leads to an important distinction. Some businesses are naturally easier to start on a small budget. Freelancing, certain service businesses, digital products, education, and many online businesses may have relatively low upfront costs. A restaurant, physical store, manufacturing company, or inventory-heavy business can require significantly more. But a high-cost final business does not always require a high-cost first step. So instead of asking, "How can I afford the entire business?" ask, "What is the smallest realistic version of this business that I can start now?" That one question can completely change what "not enough money" means. But there's a catch. Just because you can afford to build the smaller version doesn't mean you should immediately spend money building it. Because before you invest in almost any idea, you need evidence that someone other than you actually wants it. And that brings us to step 2. Here's where even a small budget can disappear fast. You build first and ask if anyone wants it later. Imagine launching a meal prep business. You pay for branding, packaging, a website, software, maybe even ads. Everything looks professional, but there's one problem. You still don't know if anyone will actually pay for it. That's why you validate before you invest. And be careful. People saying, "great idea" is not validation. Likes aren't sales. Your friends' opinions aren't demand. Real validation is behavior. Talk to potential customers. Study what they already buy. Test a simple offer. Create a basic landing page. Collect signups. Take pre-orders when appropriate. You're looking for evidence. Are people interested enough to take the next step? And ideally, are they willing to pay? If the answer is no, you've learned something valuable before spending thousands. Maybe you need to change the offer, the price, the customer, or even the idea itself. That's much cheaper than finding out after a full launch. Validate first, invest second, but validation creates a new temptation. Once you see that people are interested, it's easy to think, great, now we need to build everything. You don't. Some expenses can help turn early demand into a real business. Others simply make your business look more established without actually making it better. So before you spend another dollar, separate your expenses into 3 groups: what you need now, what can wait, and what you probably don't need at all. First, pay for what makes the business possible. Depending on your business and where you live, that could mean legal requirements, essential equipment, payment processing, a domain, or tools you genuinely need to deliver what you sell. These aren't glamorous expenses, they're functional ones. Second, delay what makes the business look bigger than it actually is. A fancy office, an expensive website, premium branding, a large team, advanced software, professional equipment you don't need yet. Some of these may become important later, but we'll need it eventually is not the same as we need it now. And third, stop paying for problems you don't have yet. Multiple subscriptions doing almost the same thing, huge inventory before proven demand, expensive equipment you barely use, large advertising campaigns before you know your offer converts. Before almost any early expense, ask one question. Will this help us get a customer, serve a customer, or meet a real business requirement right now? If the answer is no, think twice before paying for it, because at this stage, your business doesn't need everything. It needs just enough to work, deliver value, and give you something real to test. And there's a business concept built around exactly that idea: the MVP. But an MVP doesn't mean throwing together something cheap and hoping people buy it. Done properly, it can help you test your business while protecting one of your most limited resources, your money. And that brings us to step 4. So what exactly is an MVP? MVP stands for Minimum Viable Product, but this is where many beginners misunderstand the idea. An MVP is not the cheapest, worst version of your product. It's the simplest version that can deliver real value to a customer while helping you learn what works and what doesn't. Let's say you want to create an online course. You could spend months recording 50 lessons, building a complicated platform, hiring designers, and creating everything before the first student ever sees it. Or your MVP could be a smaller, focused program that solves one specific problem. Launch it. Get real students, see where they struggle, then improve it based on actual feedback instead of assumptions. The same applies to physical products. Instead of launching 20 products, test a small collection. For a service business, start with one clear service instead of building an entire agency around 10 offers. For an app, you might test the core concept with a prototype or simpler solution before investing heavily in full development. The question is, what is the simplest version we can put in front of real customers that still delivers genuine value? Not perfect, not impressive, useful, because your first version has one important job: help you learn before you spend more. Build it, put it in front of real people. Watch what happens, listen to the feedback, then decide what deserves the next dollar. And now we can put everything together. First, define the business you ultimately want to build. Then ask, what is the smallest realistic version of it that we can start with? Next, validate the idea before making major investments. Talk to potential customers. Test the offer. Look for real signs of demand, not just compliments. Once you see that demand, separate your expenses into 3 groups. Need now, can wait, don't need, then build your MVP. Get it in front of real customers, collect feedback, improve what matters, and let real-world evidence guide where you spend next. That's the difference between starting cheaply and starting smart. Starting on a small budget doesn't mean pretending a business is free. It means making sure your money goes toward building a business, not just making it look like one. And remember the bonus we promised you at the beginning? Here it is.
We created a free business starter kit packed with practical tools to help you move from simply thinking about a business to actually starting one. It will help you work through your idea, understand your customer, think about your offer, organize your first steps, and turn what you've learned today into action. And it's completely free. You can get your free business starter kit through the link in the description. If you want to go even deeper, you can also check out our book, Start Your First Online Business, From Idea to First Income, where we walk through the journey from choosing and validating an idea to actually building and launching your first business. You'll find the book and our other LifeWise resources in the description as well. And before you go, we want to hear from you. What's actually stopping you from starting your business right now? Is it money, finding the right idea, lack of experience, or simply not knowing what to do first? Let us know in the comments. And if this video helped you, subscribe to LifeWise for more practical business strategies designed to help you stop overthinking and start building. Start smaller, spend smarter, and build from there. See you in the next video.